Hello, this is Don Hall. This is at Don Hall Works YouTube channel. And this channel is dedicated to pottery and ceramics, and myself and many of my friends show you step by step how to go through and make various projects. Since Halloween is just around the corner, we thought it'd be fun to make a jack-o'-lantern. But in this demo, you can use this technique to make all sorts of different things. To make a sphere, you could turn it into a planter, a pot, who knows, whatever you want. But the main thing that we need to do is make a slump mold. And this is really simply done. There's other videos on my channel on how to make slump molds. You just get a bowl like this and spray some cooking oil in it. A soft bowl is better, like a rubber one or something like that. Spray some cooking oil in it, fill it up with plaster, give it a few hours to dry, turn it upside down, it comes out, and you have a mold. And I'm going to lay some clay over here, and we're going to make this in 2 parts. So let's get started. Okay, as always, when I make a slab, I like to take the canvas texture that comes from my slab roller off of the surface. Now, if you're not using a slab roller and you're just using a rolling pin, you probably don't need to do this. For this project, we have to make 2 halves, and so it would be better if you made 2 of these rather than 1. I unfortunately only have 1, so I'm going to put this on here and then let it dry, and then come back later and do another. But basically you just start and you push it down and push it down and push it down slowly until you get it flat against the sides. Just go a little bit at a time, and it seems to work pretty good. You can cut these and flop them over, depending on what you're trying to make. But this works if you have patience and just go a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. It'll conform to the plaster. If you get a little bit of a wrinkle in it, it's not a big problem. You can just sort of smooth that out later as you go. This is pretty much all the way down now. So what I'm going to do now is just cut the excess off. I probably made too big of a piece. You can use a needle tool or knife. And I'm finding where the bottom of this is. Just go around, cut it off. There we go. I'm going to take a little time to fuss with this, clean it up, basically let it dry to leather hard, and then I'm going to make another one just like this and put them together for you. Okay, so I've made 2 of these, and this one's leather hard, and I'm waiting for the other one to get a little stiffer before I put them together. Before I do that, I think I'll show you how I put a foot on it. Alright, so I want to put a foot on there. It really needs a foot on the bottom, or else your jack-o'-lantern is going to be rolling around. Doesn't need to have a big foot, a lot of foot, just a small one is fine. Now, I want to determine, yeah, about like so, I think. And I'm going to cut this off. I kind of cut it at an angle like this. I cut through the top, then I look at the bottom because I don't want to cut through the pot as well. And okay, so about like that. I'm going to attach this two ends together. I use this little comb and get it as round as I can, eyeball it. I give it a quick little mark just to know where I'm going to put it back to, and clean that up a little bit, then wet it and score it. I'll wet and score the bottom of it. And on this part, I have to give it, just drop it once, twice, get a flat surface to go to a flat surface, score it, give it a little moisture, score it again, and attach it. I just have a nice little flat piece of wood here that I put on here and give it a gentle tap to get that side flat as well. Now, because this is going to sit on there, it'll probably stay pretty well. You don't have to do a lot more to it than that, what I just did. All right, so here's the second one. It's been drying for a while. You don't want to let it get too dry or it'll crack because the plaster doesn't give. So but it's stuck on here pretty good. So what I do is I go around and I gently at the edge, just at the very bottom lip, pull that part away from the plaster as much as I can without deforming it. And then next pass around, as well as pulling out, I push it up a little bit, and you'll feel it at some point give. Oh, that was good. Oh, there you go. It came off now. You might need to clean this up a little bit because you want a flat surface to go to a flat surface. If it's still too wet, just set it, let it dry, and see if this is pretty good. I think that'll work. So now we have a sphere. I'm going to, you can see how this is still pretty soft. Here's a spot right here that needs a little bit of attention. I'm going to take some clay and get a little slip on it and just fix those things. It's on the inside. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it'll help it hold together better. It doesn't come apart later. For this part, it might be better to use this so we can spin it around easily. All right, so I'm going to put some slip on here. Now this slip, I made it out of this same clay. I'm a firm believer in making your slip out of the clay you're using. Score it real good. Can you hear that scratch? This one's pretty dry. I'm going to give it a little bit more, just a few dabs. see if I can fit this on here. I kind of pinch it together, push down and up, squeeze it nice and tight. Then I'll go around with my rib and can use this to take clay off, and in some spots you might need to even add it back in another spot, but if you fuss with it, you can get it so it just about disappears. I've gone around, I've cleaned it all up, made it nice and smooth. Now I want to make a hole in the top, make a lid, and so I just found this little bowl that is about the right size I want. So I stand back and look at it and spin it and make sure it's actually where it should be. You don't want it, you want it right on the very tip top. Now I'm going to use my needle tool, press down on here nice and tight, and make a good mark to go by, like so. Now I'm going to use my knife, my fennel knife, to cut this out. I want to cut it at an angle, not too steep of an angle, not straight up, not sort of about a 45, so that I have a place for it to sit. I'm carefully following my line, going around in a circle. If you get this nice and circular, you can put it back in any direction is fine. You also want to think about if you cut it out big enough that you can fit your hand down inside, which is always really nice to be able to do. Now, since I can go back in now and kind of just smooth out that joint on the inside. Now what I want to do is put a little branch on the top. Really simple to do. Form one out of some clay. Make it a little bit larger on the one end than the other. All right, so this is simple. This is the same thing. Score and slip. Press it together. Now this is kind of a thick piece of clay. If you wanted to cut a hole in here, and you could hollow it out a little bit, but I found it seems to not be necessary. I use just a fork, it's a plastic fork, to score some lines in it. Looks a little bit more like a jack-o'-lantern, or I should say a pumpkin. Now what I want to do is score some lines for the segments of the pumpkin. go down and then up, try to meet it. I go one across on each side, then I go halfway between, do another one. So I keep splitting them in half, the distance between them two. Once again, splitting it. I like to work it out, draw it on before I cut through. So I think this one was this happy face. I think I'll make this one a sadder face, have it curve down this way. But anyway, I'm going to carve it on. I'm going to draw it on here, put some eyes and a nose, and cut that out. This is the fun part for me. This is actually a lot easier to do than a real pumpkin. Don't have any seeds to scoop out of the inside. But basically, that's all there is to it. One more step I'm going to show you here after I get this mouth cut out is to, if you want, you can make it a little bit more pumpkin-like by reaching in here and pushing out, push in on the lines, and then push out from the inside, and it gives it a kind of a this clay is a little bit too stiff. I don't think that's going to work. So I'm going to just, but you get the idea. If you put your fingers here and you put your finger on the inside, you can expand it and give it more of a feeling of a pumpkin. But that's all there is to it. On this one over here, I have painted underglaze on it, and I'm going to fire it to cone 1. Then I'm going to slowly fire it to cone 1, and then I'm going to take it out and do a glaze fire, I think probably with a semi-gloss top glaze, and fire it to 06 just to make it semi-shiny, look more like a pumpkin. Well, there it is. A fun project for Halloween, and all hand-built. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please think about subscribing to my channel, and always likes are always appreciated. Thank you for watching.